So hello and welcome everyone. Today I'll showcase py-Recon, our data reconciliation platform. I'll walk you through the entire application, explaining how it solves a real-world business problem and why it can save your team countless hours and eliminate costly errors. So let's begin. So imagine this, you have a team who has just completed a quarter end close and you need to verify that the numbers in your ERP system match those in your data warehouse exactly. Or perhaps you are in the middle of a major data migration, moving from an on-premise database to the cloud, and you need to ensure every single record made the trip correctly. Traditionally, how would you do that? So someone writes a complex SQL query or exports the data into spreadsheets and then manually compare thousands of rows, a process that is not only painfully slow but also prone to human error. So if a mismatch slips through that, it can lead to incorrect reports, compliance issue and a loss of trust in your data. So py-Recon changes all of that. It automates the entire reconciliation process, so you simply tell it what data to compare and how, and it does the rest. And it gives you a detailed report of exactly where the data matches and where it doesn't. So now let's see how it works in practice. Once you click on the Get Started button, you will go to the login page where you have to simply fill your username and password and you will sign into your system. After logging in, you will land on the project selection page. This page you will have all of the projects you have created. For each project have 3 action buttons. The edit if you need to change the project details, a delete to remove the project you don't like, and the third, the select, the big arrow button which lets you to go through the next reconciliation process. At the top you have the create new project button. This is where you start a fresh reconciliation project. So after clicking on the create new project, you have to fill the project name and the credentials of the source and target configuration. So once you fill all of that, you can go to create project. All the fields are required in this page, so you can't accidentally save an incomplete project. So once the project is created, you will again come back to the project selection page and now you will click on the arrow button. So once you click on that, you will go to the main dashboard. So on the top right corner there is a profile page where your login will be shown and you can switch to the another project or sign out. And in the middle there are 4 main tabs. One is the get metadata tab. So once you click on that, you will abstract the metadata, the schema of both the source and target tables. Next is the configuration. The configuration is majorly the mapping of the source and target tables. In the reconciliation button, you will do the reconciliation process, and at last there is a view result button where you can view the result of the reconciliation. So once you click on the get metadata page, you go to the get metadata page where we will show the summary of the connection details for both systems, and for security the passwords are masked, but you can verify everything else like the account, the user, the role, the warehouse, etc. When you click on the extract metadata button, the system goes to work. It connects to both databases and fetches a complete list of all schemas and tables available. While it's working, a pop-up will appear which will tells you about the completion of the process. Once the extraction is completed, you will be returned to the dashboard with a success message. Now the py-Recon knows the full landscape of your data. So after returning to the main dashboard, the next process is the configuration.
Clicking the configuration card brings up a model with 3 steps. Step 1 is object selection. Here you see a hierarchical view of your source database organized by database, then schema and then table. You simply expand the tree and check the boxes next to the tables you want to include in the reconciliation. Currently I will select 2 tables, source 2 and source superstore. Why is this important? Because you might not want to compare every single table in a database. Maybe you only care about sales transactions and not audit logs. This step lets you focus only on the data that matters. As you select the tables, the system keeps the track. When you are done, click on the Continue to Object Mapping button. Now you need to tell py-Recon how your source tables correspond to the tables in the target system. This is object mapping. The page represents the table with your chosen source tables on the left. On the right, for each source table, there are 3 drop-downs: target database, target schema, and target table. As you select a target database, the system automatically drops down the target schema present in your database. And as you select the target schema, the system dynamically loads all the tables that are present in that particular schema. So currently I will fill all the required tables. After selecting all the required tables, we can continue to column mapping. The final configuration step is the most detailed, that is the column mapping. This is where you define the reconciliation rules at the column level. First, you select a source table and then its previously mapped target table from the previous step. The system remembers your mappings. Then it builds a grid and lists every columns from the source tables. For each source column, you pick the matching target column from the drop-down. The system tries to automate the columns with the same name. Then you configure how that column should be treated during reconciliation using set of checkboxes. First is the key column. This tells py-Recon how to match rows between source and target. For example, here I have ID, so I will mark that ID as the key column. Next is the ignore. This we have to check when we have to exclude a column from the comparison entirely. Then next are the aggregated statistics. You can ask the system to calculate and compare sums, means, medians and count for numeric columns. This gives you a quick health check at the column level. After you've done this configuration for a table, you can save configuration, click the save configuration button. This will save the configuration for this particular table, and after the successful message, we can do the same procedure for the next tables. For the second table, I will be selecting row ID as the key column and apply aggregations on the numeric columns. After saving the configuration and getting successful message, we can exit the screen. Back on the dashboard, you are ready to run the actual comparison. You click the reconcile card. Immediately, a loading overlay appears, letting you know the system is working. Behind the scenes, py-Recon connects to both databases, reads all the data according to your rules, and perform the comparisons. For millions of rows, this might take a few seconds to a couple of minutes, but what it's doing in seconds would take human days or weeks. When it's done, you get a simple success message, and you don't need to wait around. You can now explore the results tab. Now comes the payoff. Click view results to open the results page. This page is designed to let you explore the reconciliation outcome at multiple levels of detail, from a high level summary down to the exact row and column that differ. First, this is the database level. At the top, you see table listing of each source and target database that we are comparing. For each, there is a green pass badge if everything matches, or a red discrepancy badge if something doesn't. This will give you immediate status at glance. Next, when we click at the database comparison, we get a table level summary. Now you see each source table, its map target table, and a pass or fail badge for that table. If a table fail, you know there's a problem and somewhere inside it. When we click on a table row which is having the outcome failure, it drill downs further. Okay, so here we have two sections. First is the metric validation. If we enable the aggregate statistics, this shows the calculated sum mean for both source and targets and highlights any mismatches. Next is the row level integrity check. This is row by row comparison. Rows that match are shown in green and rows that don't are in red. If rows count differ, you will see a message explaining why row by row comparison isn't possible. So when we click on a particular mismatch row, right, we get a deep inspection panel. This shows every column's value from source and target side by side with mismatch values highlighted and a warning icon. Now we can exactly see what went wrong and no need to run separate queries. Throughout the result phase, we have an option for a download Excel button that exposes the entire report, and you can share it with stakeholders or archive it for compliance. For business user, this is the moment of truth. You can instantly see where data aligns and where it doesn't, and you can investigate the exact discrepancies without writing a single query. This transparency builds trust and speeds up issue resolution. So Let's recap. py-Recon takes the complex manual process of data reconciliation, turns it into a streamlined and automated workflow. The result? We get faster audits, fewer errors, and complete confidence in your data.